We've got the weather, we've got the food, we've got the access and the conditions to continue to hunt this particular deer that I'm after day in and day out. So that's the plan the next few days here.
Kind of like Christmas here in late June. We got a semi coming from Texas with a load of hawk blinds.
So that's what we're going to try and do, is some drone spraying to control these weeds, all because of those curveballs Mother Nature throws our way. What a night and what a phase. Just incredible here in the Midwest. How does it get any better? I really don't know. Man, there's nothing more exciting than new dirt. And this past year, I sold a couple farms and ended up buying a new farm in Missouri. And first things first, I walked the whole farm one day, created a map. I knew where I wanted to put cameras. I knew where I wanted to put food plots. I spent the full day in there just walking the legs out of my behind. I probably put on 5 or 6 miles. It's only 334 acres, but I wanted to find out exactly what was there. And the only way to do that is boots on the ground. This was late March, so all of the sign was laid out. It was prior to spring green up, so it was fairly easy to interpret. So I went in, laid it out. Now it's time to go in and execute that plan. We're gonna put some cameras on it this summer. And first things first, we've got one plot that has to be established up in this brushy area. Myself, Wade, and Perry walked this particular farm. I walked it alone, then I brought those 2 guys in, and this was the area that we wanted to focus on the most. Most of the plots were easy to lay out because there were open areas already next to big bedrooms. This one was inside a bedroom. Are we gonna be able to hunt it very often? Probably not. We'll use some cell cams to try and tell us when to go in there, and we'll certainly use it during the peak of the rut when we feel like we'll get a free pass and go up in this particular spot. But this one's a beauty. Check it out.
Well, another day on the farm. Myself, Perry, Carson, and Bryce are gonna head down to a brand new farm that we purchased last year. It's a Missouri farm, and we're really excited to have some good history with it from the previous owner. And we're actually gonna go in and create a brand new plot with the 333G, the X mulcher, and then we're gonna erect this scent-proof blind right up there on top. It's a big, nasty, brushy patch that we're gonna go in and carve kind of like a horseshoe-shaped plot out, pop the blind up, and our access is gonna be through wide open timber up in, overlooking this brushy flat. It's gonna be ideal whenever we get that into a nice green patch. We're excited. We gotta do a little bit of work on the crossing to get in, and like I say, then we're gonna go in, carve out the plot, and hopefully have a nice green carpet if Mother Nature will cooperate and give us a little bit of rain here to push through, because it's been awful dry here in northern Missouri and southern Iowa. So fingers crossed that she'll be on our side this summer, and we can get a nice green, brand new green field to grow.
He's the worst operator ever got this good stuff. He's a certified forklift driver. That's the type of operator he is.
Can you handle that? What? Can you handle that operating?
I'm an operator.
No, you're not.
Yeah, I am.
No.
You know, he's the best at everything.
It's June, it's hot. We're in the middle of the drought. Our bean fields are not growing very good at all, but we're kind of in a stage where we move blinds, create new plots. This is a new plot. Wade's behind me in the skid steer with the Vail X mulcher, kind of carving out this ridge plot, if you will. To our north here, there's big open timber. We're gonna come up a power line and access through the big open timber because a lot of deer we feel are not gonna bed there. We're kind of in the center of the farm here. Behind me, through these cedars is a big south slope, and it looks like everything that's behind me. Big Russian olive, big shingle oaks, grass, just, it's nasty, but it all south facing into a big valley. So we feel that most of the deer are going to be bedding there. So we're carving out this plot using this natural point, if you will, of trees, a blind about 50 yards in the pinch, if you will, and then radishes on this end of the field where we are now, and then the other half will be either clover or winter bulbs. So it'll be a dual product as far as what we plant. Biologic deer radishes up front, close to the blind, non-typical clover away from the blind, or a last bite or a winter bulb field, depending on what we decide to do and honestly what kind of rainfall we see in the forecast when we go to plant in August. So kind of a rundown of the strategy there, how we're gonna get the deer in front of us, and a brand new farm here in Missouri we picked up this year, and we're gonna put a blind up, create a plot, and we already fixed a creek crossing on our way in. So it's full swing here, sweating it out. When we build our scent-proof blinds, these are 16-foot 6x6s, and we cut them at an angle, so if you ever skid the blind, we build all of them on skids, so if we ever need to move them or add a blind, move it to a different location, or take it somewhere else, we can skid it to a road or skid it to where we can get a nearest truck and trailer. And we always cut them off at an angle so that when you're skidding, instead of just a flat 6x dragging in the dirt, you have a ramp, if you will, to get through the brush and the grass. So.
Well, we just got finished up with the Veil X mulcher, and it did a perfect job, exactly the tool that we needed for this particular job. As you can see, there's a lot of little bushes and small trees. Was no job for the X mulcher, but nonetheless, we got it all cleared out. We got a horseshoe type shape. It should work to perfection. We got a few more lanes that we might need to cut out once we get the blind in the air, but for now, it's a great start. Perry and I are gonna try and get this blind up in the air, and before the end of the day, we'll have the blind in the air, we'll have all of our lanes trimmed, should be ready for fall.
Well, the drought is still rolling here in the Midwest. We've gotten about 2/10 of rain in the last 30, probably 45 days. We're gonna spray 3 things from our friends at Nutrient. Terramar is going to help reduce the stress on the plant. Radiate is going to help root growth. Even though we don't have a lot of moisture, this product's gonna promote the roots to grow more. And then NutriSync 3D is a broad spectrum of micronutrients that's going to help the plant survive through some of these drought conditions. So we're gonna load all these up in the sprayer. We're gonna go spray, let's say I got 7 or 8 bean fields up here to spray today, and Wade's got about the same down in Missouri, and then one of our middle farms. So do what we can to have a food plot this year. Well, we got all that chemical put down on our fields from Nutrient, and it's kind of like Christmas here in late June. We got a semi coming from Texas with a load of hawk blinds, and we're gonna get those unloaded, and hopefully in the next couple weeks we'll get them set up in some key spots, and we'll bring that to you as well. Here we go.
If you watched deer season 23 in our series last summer, you know it's 365 days a year. There's really no off season, whether it's unloading blinds, spraying food plots, perhaps watering food plots given the droughts that we've endured the last couple years. And there's always curveballs that Mother Nature throws your way. And this year we had a very good start to our crops. Number one, seed beds were in good shape. We planted everything, and then we had a germinating rain. It was off to a great start. We planted in late April. We got some good rains there in late April, early May, and then the drought hit. Mid-May through mid to late June was as dry as I've ever seen it. And because of that, our beans were slow to grow, our corn was slow to grow, and we had sprayed some spray on both of them to have some residual to try and control the weeds. Well, one of our cornfields kind of got away from us. It was doing good, the spray was working, and then all of a sudden the corn got so tall that but it wasn't tall quick enough, it didn't shade out, because ultimately you want the crop to shade out the weeds. Well, now it's too tall for us to go over. We've got bean fields that are so dry, the stems are breaking when we go over it with the tractor. So we said, why don't we try something new? We tried this last summer. It was pretty awesome with a drone spraying unit. And luckily enough, our good friend Steven McBee had one from his farming operation. He said, borrow mine. And so that's what we're gonna try and do, is some drone spraying to control these weeds, all because of those curveballs Mother Nature throws our way.
This is the field we outlined yesterday with the remote, and it's 5.5 acres of corn. Field we call Hatch that we hunt quite often, but you can see, I don't know if you can see on the camera, but you can see the green. It's going back and forth, spraying the field, showing you what it's done and what it still has to do. See the live view too.
We sure appreciate everybody that's following along the trials and tribulations of deer season 23. We've had some heartbreakers. We've also started to share with you some of those hunts that we did not get time to edit last year. And here's another one. Here's a special one. You're going to see an encounter that Taylor and Carson had with this deer back in October. And then he went MIA. And I was lucky enough to film Taylor kill a nice deer with her rifle. Then we had this major cold front come through, and that kind of sets up where we're going into the blind here in Missouri. But here's this giant buck that I believe was 6.5 years old based on the pictures we had of him over the last couple of years. And it's one for the ages. And the coolest part was Taylor was there with me when he stepped out. We were actually watching something that I don't think she's ever seen. And if she had, it hadn't been very often. She was filming it. It was a special night with the cold front and everything. And this was one for the ages. So happy to share it with you here in deer season 23 as we get ready for this coming fall.
We're settled in. Carson's with me tonight. It's just beautiful down here. We got beans, and then we got a green strip. That's at perfect bow range if they walk the walk. Dad and I hunted here probably a week ago now, and they did walk the walk. They were just young deer, and they tore up the scrape trees when we came. So here's the wind. I mean, it's just perfect. We're sitting right there, and the wind is blowing in our face. So it's in our face the whole evening, and we should be in for a great sit if they move. But good luck to everybody that's out. First buck we've had with age to him. He looks bored, but he's got a gray old face, so he could be 5 down here in Missouri. It's kind of hard to tell early season, but we're having a great sit. We got about 15 minutes left to light, but really cool deer. That's it.
That is it.
All right, we're doing kind of our closing interview in the truck because as you can see in Carson's footage, that mega giant came out right before legal shooting. We knew it was him immediately. We just got photos of him last night, and it looked like he was kind of heading towards our lane at first, but he just got in those beans and fed hard and just stayed at that back edge of the beans and then really went to the lane behind him. We cannot wait to show Dad the footage and hear if he had luck. So, whew, that was crazy.
Well, good afternoon, barely afternoon. We've got the weather, we've got the food, we've got the access and the conditions to continue to hunt this particular deer that I'm after day in and day out. So that's the plan the next few days here. It's gonna seem like Groundhog Day, but I think this is the tactic I need to be there when he does free up and when he comes to check this particular field. We're gonna get in early every day, sit there, and hopefully he shows up. So we'll see what happens. 25 degrees, west-northwest winds. How do you get better on November the 16th? We're going back into County Road Bottom where we've already had some great luck this year. We killed a really old 191-inch deer there, then Morgan scored on a big, massive chocolate horn deer, and I felt like if we were gonna run into this particular deer, it's a deer that Taylor has already encountered, a giant buck that looked like he was 6, 7 years old, big mass, big frame, chocolate horn deer. I felt like if we were gonna run into him, this is where it was going to happen. Some of these bucks are starting to free up, and most importantly, we've got the weather in our favor. I've had this farm 15 years. I don't ever remember rifle season with snow on the ground, highs in the 20s, northwest winds at 15 to 20. Like, we've got the weather we need to see this target. He's been hard to see over the last few years, so maybe this is what it takes to kill him, but it's just fun sitting here this time of the year with this kind of movement as compared to what it's normally like here. It's been just awesome down here, and it's the weather that's doing it. Now we're talking. I think that's Hank, I think.
Is he 4 or 5?
He's probably 6.5. He's tending that doe. Oh, that's nice stuff right there. Pretty. I may regret that, but we're gonna see what happens. I almost was tempted to pull that trigger, but I knew if I did and notched that tag, it would eliminate the possibility to hunt that one deer that I was after. So we're gonna continue hunting him. Strategy in that I keep going back to the same blind. The wind's right, the weather's right. I'm gonna keep hunting it till he shows up. Our access is good and the wind's right. I got tonight and tomorrow night to get him killed, then the wind switches. So we're gonna jump in the blind and have a good sit. Hopefully the strategy pays off. Gun's in the blind, that's why I'm explaining my strategy. I left it there. My gun, my equipment, everything else. Two-year-old. Pretty stuff in the sunshine.
Yeah. Look at him.
Mm-hmm. Oh, she's gonna squat for him. Get on her. She's gonna take him. She's gonna take him.
Really?
Yep. That was awesome.
Yeah.
Wow.
That was pretty crazy.
Keep on it, this guy.
I'm trying. Breathing.
It's always a rare occurrence and really a treasure that the outdoors gives you to see something like that. Like if you think of the odds to actually see that moment happen and then actually capture it, it was pretty rare. It also tells you where we're at. We're not desperately seeking yet. I mean, there's still bucks, tending does, breeding does. It's why we haven't seen the shooters we're looking for. We're still in that peak of breeding, but it's gonna come off that curve sometime here, and when it does, they're gonna start looking. Awesome. That was pretty cool. Did you get it good, Taylor?
Oh yeah.
Who is that? There's a really big deer. Taylor, I think that's him. That's him.
Is it?
You see him in the field? Right there, just came in.
Yep.
That's him, Taylor.
What are you doing?
Wait till I get a good broadside. Okay, you already there?
Yep.
Here we go. Ready? He's down. Strategy paid off. We got him, Taylor. Yeah.
Big.
He's big. We got him. It paid off. I talked about it on the way in. We're gonna sit here, sit here, sit here till we see that deer. He's laying right there in the field. We got him, Taylor. I'm so glad you're here.
Didn't jump at all.
Good job.
Big sucker.
That silencer is quiet.
Yes.
I mean, so
And
quiet.
you smoked him.
We're trying to harvest a lot of does with DMAP and everything, and we said on windy nights, if we had silencers, it would really help us. So we worked with Silencer Central to get cans for all of our guns. I just use it for that buck because it's on the gun already. I can't even believe that just happened.
Insane.
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 She just filmed a buck breed a doe. They run off. They've got our attention. And I said, some of these bucks are still with does. That's why we haven't seen our shooter. I turn around and I go, who's that? Our giant is standing in the field while they're breeding a doe. Go figure.
Literally.
What are the odds of that? That's the same buck that Taylor and Carson had an encounter with out of the hawk earlier in the season. And then we got pictures of him up through October 28th, much like last year.
Yeah.
He disappeared, and then he comes back the latter part of November, early December. But this is part of his home core, and I was like, well, if we've got the weather to kill him, this is it, if we're gonna have the weather to kill him. And we just killed him.
That was awesome.
I just got this from Forrest. Don't know who the shooter is. Oh, that's a big deer. Oh, boy. Terry, myself, I'm so excited right now. I don't even know what to do. Holy moly. That thing's awesome, Taylor.
Oh my.
Coondog and Perry weren't far. They came over for the celebration, and it was just one of those evenings I'll never forget. And most importantly to me, I got to share a lot of these moments with Taylor, who was expecting at the time.
You ain't kidding.
You ate a kid, bro.
Woo!
He broke his forward. Oh well, is what it is. That thing's cool, ain't it?
That's an awesome deer.
How about it, dog?
OMG.
Fired up. Fired up. I don't know how it can get any better when you're surrounded by family and your loved ones, your best friends in the whole world. Here we are enjoying an incredible night out here. And I mean that, dog. You're one of my best friends. I love you, brother.
Love you, dog.
Oh, love you guys, man.
That was awesome, brother. Just an incredible buck that we've got a history with. Perry, you and I saw this deer in this field when he was 3.5, if I'm not mistaken, or 4.5. 4.5.
4.5.
That was fall of 20. We saw him in this field. And then here he is as a 6.5-year-old deer. And he was not on us a lot. We get pictures of him off and on, but he was on us tonight. Taylor was sitting there with me behind the camera, and we got it done. What a night and what a phase. Just incredible here in the Midwest. How does it get any better? I really don't know.
We're adding new videos every week, so make sure to click that subscribe button and check out all of our amazing content. This episode of DoD TV is brought to you by DeerCast Maps, waypoints, weather, virtual rain gauges, and more. Every tool you need to get ahead of your game.